Welcome to the We Are VIP podcast. Each week, your host, Casey Hasten, Director of Recruiting at VIP, will bring you valuable insights from thought leaders, introduce you to incredible companies, and bring you tips for landing your dream job from our team of executive recruiters at VIP. And now, Casey Hasten.
Welcome to the We Are VIP podcast, a podcast devoted to adding value to your career or candidate search, brought to you by VIP. I'm your host, Casey Hasten. I'm an executive recruiter, director of recruiting with VIP, and your all-around hiring guru. And I am pretty pumped about the guest we have today. And we're going to tell you a story about how we met and the importance of doing what I keep telling you guys, get your ask in gear. So today on the show, I'd like to welcome Lisa Jimenez, mindset coach, international speaker and trainer, and best-selling author of her newest book, published in 7 languages, my hero, Mindset Reset. She teaches individuals to let go of what they think they know and change their mindset for greater success. She joins us today to share some of her insights and help job seekers reframe their minds to improve their career trajectory. And I will tell you, I have actually been working through her book, which is not just a book, it's a workbook, and it's amazing. So Lisa, welcome to the show.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Casey. Hi, everyone.
So the first question I always ask, and I've already kind of alluded to this, is how did we get connected?
Yeah, it's so cool how we got connected because you are just an expert at networking. So you heard me on Bob Berg's podcast show, and you just said, wow, that's a topic I want to share with our listeners and our viewers. And you reached out to me. So it was through the amazing go-giver, Bob Berg.
Yes. We love some Bob Berg around here. Did I tell you the story that I actually had him on the podcast on my birthday?
No, how cool is that?
It was so cool. We'd actually blocked that day off, and I said, I will open that back up if you will come on my birthday. And then he sang happy birthday to me.
Oh my gosh.
How many people can say that?
That's so sweet. I had him on my podcast and we sang You Are My Sunshine together.
I love that song. That is so beautiful. I love it. I really appreciate you so much that, number one, that you answered the call when I called or when I emailed you, but that's not everybody does that. And I think that's so important as a give back, that when people reach out to you, that you at least give them a few minutes of your time. So thank you for that. I do appreciate it. And I also appreciate you coming on. I have the coolest job in the world. I'm just going to say it because I get to talk to people like you all the time, and I get to reach out to people, and and it's amazing to me how many people are just so nice and they will respond.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's great. Well, you have a very inviting way about you too, Casey. So that's
cool. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for that. So, but we're here to talk about your book today because I really feel like this is life-changing. It is can help people so much if they will just sit down, and we talked about this, and do the work. So your book, Mindset Reset, is all about retraining your brain to transform your life. Why do you think so many people can benefit from transforming their mindset?
Because mindset creates everything. I mean, more than skill, more than a slick marketing campaign, more than hard work, more than even a work ethic. It's the mindset, because if you don't have the mindset that actually can bring you into a trajectory of what you really want in life, you'll sabotage it. I mean, a mindset, you guys, a mindset is like a thermostat. So if your mindset is set at 67 degrees and you open up all your windows and it's a very hot day and that rises, as soon as those doors shut, it recalibrates to whatever it's set at. But let's look at that as like, that's some great news, because if your mindset is like a thermostat, you can actually enhance, expand, and grow a mindset that you can create inevitably. You can create the inevitable, because a prosperous mindset is inevitably prosperous. A confident mindset, inevitably confident. A wealthy mindset is inevitably creates wealth. So mindset is everything, Casey. It's all about the inside job. And what is a mindset? A mindset, you guys, is simply your most predominant thought life. coupled with your belief system, what you really believe about yourself, about this thing called life. Is it a safe place? Is it not a safe place? About others. Are others there to help you, empower you, inspire you, bring you along in your journey? Or are they there to hurt you or compete with you? This is all mindset. So the reason why I'm just so passionate about mindset and I just love to teach about mindset reset is because it can change the trajectory of your life.
I heard something the other day that I wanted to share with you that I thought was and I actually heard it in a guided meditation. And they were talking about gardening the inner landscape of your mind. Mm. And I feel like that's what you talk about. You teach people how to tend to that and how to, really grow where you want to grow and stamp out those weeds where you don't want them. And I just love that analogy.
I love that analogy too. It makes me think about like a seed. Every idea is a seed. So you could have an empowering idea and you plant that seed, and that seed in metaphysics, and that seed in physics will call forth to itself everything it needs to come to fruition. So an idea is a seed, and then by watering it and giving it sunlight, giving it attention, giving it focus, sharing it with others, you're actually helping it call forth to itself all that it needs to come to fruition. It's the law of physics that every idea will come to fruition. So be careful about what you think about. And that's what we talk about here, right? Our thought life. We got to be really cognizant of what are we thinking about. And by the way, you guys, this is called metacognition. Metacognition is the study of your thoughts. You're thinking about what you're thinking about. And so often our thoughts are just completely unconscious. We don't even realize that we have these reactions or like a trigger. And that's all tied to our mindset.
That's really beautiful. And I know you're a coach and you work with people all the time on this issue. And that's one of the things that, being a coach myself, that I think that you're speaking to is like those limiting beliefs. That could be your trigger and you don't even know it. So unless you do that deep dive and do that inner work on yourself, you're not going to know why your mindset's not helping you to become successful. So that leads me to my next question. So how can someone assess their mindset and determine if it is holding them back?
If you're feeling angst or just a lack of satisfaction, a lack of energy, a lack of vitality in any one of your subjects, or here it is, if you have a constant complaint about something or someone or yourself, a constant complaint, and you're hearing yourself constant complaining about yourself or your life, or that has something to do with mindset, because I would assert that we are in our spiritual realm, in our real true essence, in pure potential energy. We are always inspired. We are all about inspiration and growth and expansion. It's our birthright. It's who we are in a metaphysical way. So if there's any kind of angst and I'm not talking about fear here. Fear is good. I'm talking about angst or a constant complaint. That will show you right there that it's something to do with your mindset. And a good example of this, Casey, is I had a client she's a realtor, very successful realtor in Sarasota, Florida. She had never sold $1 million property until she started working with me and reprogramming her mindset. And as soon as we reprogrammed and retrained her brain around around what it looks like, why does she want to sell multi-million-dollar homes? What's the contribution there? And we actually started retraining her brain and aligning her visions with her selling $1 million homes. Within 3 months, she had her very first listing. And within 6 months, she sold $4 million homes. It can happen with velocity. That's the power of a mindset.
Absolutely. And you keep talking about the focus and I want to just go back to that little piece of our brain called the reticular activation system, because that's what tells your mind what to focus on. And so like if you are focusing on that question, that angst, your mind's just going to keep confirming that you have it. And so it's really important to work through those blocks with a coach like yourself, or even a therapist if you need it. I don't know. It depends on how deep that runs, how far back in childhood. But for sure, I think it's important that people understand what role the RAS plays in what you focus on and what your brain allows to filter in.
Mm-hmm. And that's what an RAS is. It's a reticular activating system, a group of cells right here in the back of your brain.
I know, I usually do this too.
So there's 11,000 bits of information in any split second. And our brain, because we have this RAS, which is kind of like a guardhouse, it filters out everything but about 11 bits of information at any one time. So the operative question here is, what gets filtered in?
So beautiful.
11 bits. We only notice 11 things going on at any one given time. What are those 11 things? How do we train our brain that we actually start seeing more opportunity, and that that reticular activating system is working for us? That's all around mindset. And that's all around conditioning your mind to be more positive, to actually see opportunity, to build belief in who you really are and what you want to create.
So beautiful. So beautiful. We could talk about that all day long.
And it happens quickly. It's like going to the gym, and the first time it hurts, and then you start building those muscles. And by the second and third time, you're actually impressed that you can lift more than the day one.
Exactly.
That's how quickly results will come. That's how quickly you can shift a mindset.
That is amazing. And I'm so glad you had those numbers. I was trying to share those numbers with somebody the other day, and I could not remember how many bits of information we got per second. So I'm so glad you had that at your fingertips. Okay, so in your Mindset Reset coaching program, you mentioned the 5-step formula process that helps you achieve your goals. How did you create this formula?
The formula came from, I have my own business coach, and my business coach was saying, Lisa, why do you have a waiting list for your coaching programs? You should actually have a program where you have your own coaches coaching the prospects that are on your waiting list. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's brilliant. Why have I never thought of that? That's why you always want to coach. So coaches have coaches. They just give you a new frame. They give you a new reference. They expand your thinking. So my business coach said, you need to launch the Mindset Reset Academy. So when I started thinking about the Mindset Reset Academy, I'm like, wow, Casey, I have never written down how I do what I do. It just comes so naturally to me because I've been doing it for 27 years, retraining people's brains. I have a degree in psychology and neuroscience. So it just comes naturally to me to help people notice their self-sabotage and break through it. I never had a formula on how to do it. So if you don't have a formula on how to do it, it can't exist beyond you. So I had to do a lot of introspection, and over about a year and a half, a little over a year, I came up with identifying 5 steps that I bring every single client through to help them retrain their brain and create a prosperity mindset. So I just interviewed all my coaching clients and asked them what they remember, what was most significant for them, what lasted maybe even years after I coached them, what they remembered. And after about 13 months of this introspection, I came up with these 5 steps. And this is the Mindset Reset formula that I teach in my academy so that other people can go teach my formula as well.
That is beautiful. Can we quickly summarize the 5 steps?
Sure. Step number 1, embrace your duality. There's a duality in this planet. And you have to notice that duality. There is a survival mindset, which is how the brain is wired. We're wired to predict and to protect and to prefer. And that's all around competition and surviving. That's the primal mindset. That's the physical nature. But then we also have an energetic, pure potential energy part to us. In fact, you know, Casey, that it has been said we are spiritual beings having this human experience. And so Mindset Reset is all about shifting the hierarchy Instead of focusing on our physicality, we focus on this pure potential energy. We focus on our spiritual nature. So step number one is embrace your duality. You have two natures. You have this pure potential spiritual energy that can cause anything. Anything is possible in this realm. Pure potential energy, all it wants to do is create. And then you have focused thoughts that can manifest a result. So look at how beautiful both your natures are. You need matter, the physicalness, to get to experience your spiritual nature. If you didn't have your physical nature and you only had pure potential energy, you would just be buzzing waves of potential, creating nothing. So we need this physicality. And when we can embrace both natures, our physical nature and our spiritual nature, we have power. We have what Einstein said, everything is nature, everything is energy. And a problem cannot be solved by the same energy that created it. So mindset reset, step number one is about shifting the hierarchy to your spiritual, pure potential energy. And then step two, we got to let go. You know, if we would just stop suppressing the goodness that's around us, and there's a lot of goodness around us. If we would just stop suppressing it, the goodness would pop right up to the surface of our life. That's how creation works. So let go of resistance. Let go of a limiting belief. Let go of clutter. A cluttered mind, a cluttered space cannot create the miraculous. So what can you let go of, even physically right now, you guys? Look around your office, look around your home. What can you just let go of in your physical space? One of the first things I do with my coaching clients is I have them go to their closet and release, let go. Whatever you have not worn in the last year, let it go. It is a very profound statement to the universe that you are willing to let go. You're willing to let go of habitual patterns, willing to let go of thoughts that no longer serve you, beliefs that are not in your highest good. We've got to let go first. And we got to create, here's the language, 0 point energy, because 0 point energy is that spiritual nature, that buzzing wave of potential energy. It's nothing. So step two is let go. And then step three, we adopt spiritual truths. In fact, there are 5 spiritual truths that exist only in the spiritual realm. They don't exist in the physical realm. You have to know them. You need to memorize them. You need to practice these 5 spiritual truths. So you are literally, like what Einstein said, you're practicing creating from nothing, from pure potential energy. This is magic. This is where the magic happens. This is where you get aligned to serendipity. Somebody calls you out of the blue. This is where you're like, wow, like for me right now, you have your goal, your goals in front of you. And you get in a state called the future. I call it the quantum field. And you actually visualize this, your goals coming to fruition. You visualize that they're here now already. And that leads us into step 4, which is craft a compelling vision and immerse yourself in the reality of it.
Yes.
Because what you're doing in that, and it's just called imagination. Again, Einstein said, imagination is more powerful than knowledge. And imagination, you guys, it's free. So if you can just tap into the future, the quantum field, and imagine your goals already in existence. What does it feel like? What does it look like? Who are you being? And then you bring that way of being into today, right now. Who do I need to be today that vision helped me realize? So step number 4 of our mindset reset is craft a compelling vision. Even scripture said where there is no vision, the people perish because they're so focused on what's not working, or they're so focused on their physicality. Because I get it, you guys, it's reality. It's right in front of you. But really, let's define reality. Reality is past tense. It happened just now. And then it just happened. And then it just happened. And then, so reality is past tense. But who are you creating yourself to be is the quantum field. That's playing in the spiritual realm, that pure potential energy. And then you practice being that person. And here it is, write this down. You become who you practice to be.
That's
you
good.
become who you practice to be. You want to be more confident? Practice being more confident. You want to become a better listener? You want to be a global leader? You want to have an impact on people? Then practice having an impact on people. You become who you practice to be. But the problem is, you guys, you and I, we're too focused on the reality, the physical, the problem. And like Einstein said, if you're only focused on the problem, you have no potential to change it. There's no possibility to change it. You are resonating with the consciousness of that problem. So step 4, which is craft this compelling vision and practice being that person, and ask yourself, what does this vision call me to be? Maybe a better follow-up. Just I follow up. So I'm getting better and better at following up. Or maybe it's more compassion. Maybe it's a bigger vision. Man, why am I only wanting to transform my community? I could transform the globe. So you have to think bigger of your reach. Whatever it is, it's about really expanding what's possible for you through the power of imagination, the power of focused imagination. And then the final step in Mindset Reset is step number 5, which is leverage your alignment. And this is where the reticular activating system comes in. Just start focusing on a red Volkswagen, and just watch how your brain goes to work for you. So start focusing on my next client. Describe him, describe her, get an image in your mind, hold that image, pretend, imagine you're having conversations with them. So you are imagining in what I call the quantum field, the future, and you watch how your brain goes to work for you. You start seeing things you would have missed, opportunities you would have missed before, but now you see them because there's 11 bits of information and you're training your brain what to notice, what to see. And then the last piece of step number 5 is everything is energy. Everything is energy. And so if you are aligned with the energy of your future, the energy in this quantum field, wow, that energy actually holds your next client. It holds the healing of in your body that you need. It holds the idea that could create a multi-million-dollar business. It holds the energy. So leveraging your alignment is about meditation. It's about quieting the physical nature, quieting the mind, and stepping into that pure potential energy called nothing, no time, nowhere, nobody. But it's uncomfortable to do that because we're so attached to our labels, to our success, to even complaining. We get addicted to the chemicals that get produced from the brain. Cortisol. Most people are addicted to cortisol. So they actually keep creating stress so they can get their cortisol hit. Well, what if we just let go of that? What if we just started just, again, quieting the mind? And that's what meditation is. Meditation actually means becoming familiar with your thoughts, becoming familiar with what's possible for you, becoming familiar with your spiritual essence, this pure potential energy. Wow, what would your life look like if you really believed anything is possible? Who would you be being right now after this conversation? Who would you call? How would you walk in a room? Who would you contribute to? If you started retraining your brain and leveraging this alignment called pure potential energy.
I love all that. And
magic, but it's not magic at all.
It's not
is it?
magic.
It's just power of harnessing your mind, and it's shifting that hierarchy. You're not coming from your survival mindset. You're coming from your spiritual prosperity mindset. So it's kind of like a GPS, you guys. Let's imagine, what is a GPS? The global positioning system. Whether it's a Garnet or a Magellan, you punch in the address of your desired location. Step number 1 in our mindset reset. What do you want?
Mm-hmm.
What do you really want? Clarity is power. Some of you have never even punched in your address, and you have this GPS inside of you in that spiritual realm, and you've never punched in an address. You're just focused on, I lost my job. You're focused on, she left me. You're focused on, I got a divorce and I'm a single mom. And I get it. Those are real. My husband left me after 18 years of marriage. I was a single mom. I had to recreate myself. I had to manage my sadness and depression. And I get it. I get it. But you have got to rise above that and decide, make a choice. And you have this choice. You are the only created beings in all of creation that can choose one thought over another. You're the only created being in all of creation that has free will. Nothing else created has free will. A plant doesn't. Animal kingdom does not have free will. They run by instinct. Even angels, if you believe in angels, they do not have free will. They were created for a specific design or purpose. Only human beings in our humanity has free will. We can choose one thought over another. So what are you choosing? Are you even declaring what you're choosing? You could say, Lisa, Casey, what I want is. Declare it, speak it, write it down, have your goals written in front of you. All of mine are right here. I walk around with them.
I love that.
Step number 1 in being a GPS, put in an address. Decide what you want. You can't get it wrong. So just start somewhere and decide what you want.
Exactly.
And then what happens when you punch in that address? What happens?
Your brain focuses on it.
Yeah, it does. And then what do? With a GPS analogy,
you start heading that direction.
The car and go.
Yep.
And here's the second step in this GPS analogy, which is what you have in your pure potential spiritual energy. You have to complete step 1 before you'll get the next direction of step 2. So if you punch in an address, you and I, Casey, we're in California, we want to go to New York. We punch in that address, that GPS calculates every step like that. But it doesn't give you all 7,000 steps or 100 steps. It only gives you 1 step. And you must obey step 1 before you can get the next step. That's how life works. And then the last step in this GPS analogy is, what happens when you make a mistake? What happens when that GPS, that system, tells you to make a right and you made a left? It doesn't berate you. It doesn't make you start over, go back to go. It doesn't call you an idiot. It doesn't judge you at all. What does it say? It says recalculating.
Oh, yeah.
You continue your journey from the place you made a mistake. So you guys, there's nothing wrong here. When you made a left and you were supposed to make a right, just recalculate. Give yourself permission to just recalculate. And you keep going on that path. You keep believing in yourself. Every day in every way, you're getting closer and closer to your desire. So to sum up this whole GPS analogy, number 1, you got to know what you want. Mm-hmm. You got to have clarity of what you want. You got to punch in that address in your GPS, in your spiritual GPS. And then it goes to work for you and calculates every step you need to get to your desired destination. And then step 2, you got to obey step number 1. And you're not going to get that next step in that GPS until you complete the first step. Turn right. Oh, turn right. And then you will get the next step. And then the third idea around this analogy, when you make a mistake, for God's sakes, just recalculate. And we get so addicted to the drama of our mistakes or our problems. How about you and I making a decision today, you guys, to just say, oops, there it is.
I
And
love it.
bringing lighthearted energy to our problems, to our mistakes. Because again, the brain gets addicted to the cortisol from problems. That's how the brain's wired for survival. It loves the drama. But you can change, shift that hierarchy and focus on this pure potential energy. And what pure potential energy would do is, oops, there it is. Let's recalculate from right here.
You know what? I cannot think of a better note to end this podcast on than that right there. I mean, that is brilliant. Recalculate from where you're at. I mean, that spoke to me today. And I love that. You know, start from where you're at. If you take a wrong turn, recalculate. So I absolutely love that. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. But I want to get to our VIP questions before we run out of time. So are you ready?
I'm so ready. I love these. Thank you for this. You really made me think. And
Good.
I appreciate that a lot.
Well, good. So let's hear what you came up with. So if you were chosen to be one of the first colonists on Mars, what 3 things or people would you take with you?
Mm-hmm. The first thing I would take with me are my mentors, Bob Proctor, Bob Berg, Randy Gage. Even if I couldn't physically take them with me, I would take their work with me. I would be able to bring their books, the technology to listen to their mission or their podcast shows. So I would bring my mentors. We need each other, you guys. We are never so evolved that we don't need another person's wisdom. And it even says where 2 or more are gathered, there I am. And what is the I am? That amazing quantum field energy, results, answers, wisdom. So I would take my mentors. And the second thing I would take is I would take the Bible. I get so much wisdom from Proverbs. I gain so much inspiration from Ephesians about who we truly are in this spiritual realm. I get compassion and care from Proverbs. So I would bring my Bible. And the third thing, I would definitely bring empty journals and a pen. Because I find when I just sit with myself with my empty journal and a pen, I just come up with brilliant ideas. And then I punch them in my GPS and I start keeping track of my results. And I start building belief in myself that I'm divinely guided. I see, oh my gosh, this person called me. I keep track of the miracles. I keep track of the serendipities. I keep track of it. So I am reinforcing in my mindset all the time. Oh my gosh, I am divinely guided. All things are happening for my highest good. What a joy to be alive and to create my goals, to watch them come together and pull everything they need to come to fruition. And that's physics.
I love that.
I create the inevitable with my journals. So I would bring empty journals and pens.
I love that. You know, it's so interesting that you say that because I actually, I'm a huge journaler, and every night I do my evening check-in. And one of the things that I write about are the synchronicities that I saw throughout the day. Because I think when you pay attention to that, it really starts to happen more. It's like, oh, I got introduced to this person at just the right time. Or, it could be anything, but I won't go into that. So,
I love that. I know we have to have a whole other podcast just on that conversation.
It's so good. It's so good. I mean, it has just happened today, but we'll talk about it offline. So what is one thing you do each day to set your day up for success?
Yes. So set my day up for success. I happen to get up at 5 a.m. I'm in the 5 a.m. club. I love it. And so from 5 to 7, that is my solitude time. Mm-hmm. I'm journaling, I'm praying, I'm meditating. I'll exercise during that time. I have a gratitude list. I just wake up with so much joy and so much excitement about what I get to create that day and watching the synchronicities in life and watching the coincidences. And I mean, it's just an exciting time to be alive with everything that's even through COVID, just to see the resilience in people, the human nature, the human spirit is alive and well on this planet. Do you see it? Are you aligned with it? Are you celebrating it? Are you immersing yourself in it? And that's what I do from 5 to 7. And then I create. I just like, what's my intention today? Who am I going to call today? Who am I being today? So I set myself up with those 2 hours of intentional creation.
It's so funny that you just said that. I swear we do need to have a whole nother podcast on this, because
we're twins.
I know, because every morning I do my morning check-in, and I have that solitude time with my morning miracle. I've talked about it a million times. Shout out to Hal Elrod. But one of the things that I do each morning is I assess where I'm at that moment, and how I felt with my meditation, but then I set my intention for the day. And that whenever I falter or I have a moment, I can always go back and say, this is what I said I was going to do today, Yeah. So do what you said you were going to do. And I wrote it down. So that's the other important thing, right? Because once I write something down, it's done. So.
See, that's so powerful. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. So my final question, if your life's work was being summarized in a news article, what would the headline be?
Okay. Right now, I was almost mad at you. This was so hard for me, but so good for me. That's so good for me. Thank you for this challenge. So I came up with literally 100 different things. I spent a lot of time on this.
I can tell.
It was so inspiring. So thank you for challenging me. And here it is. The headline would be Quantum Living. Quantum Living. Quantum Living. And the subtitle is Success, Creating Your Ideal Life. It only takes 2 ingredients. And this is about mindset. It only takes 2 ingredients. Success only takes 2 ingredients: belief and time. And the more belief you have, the less time it takes. So my life work is all about quantum living, building the belief of who you really are. You are not your body. You are not your problems. You are not your thoughts. You are pure potential energy. Research Einstein's work. Research E = mc squared. Who you really are as light, as pure potential energy. Anything is possible when you really believe that, and then switch the hierarchy so that you're harnessing these power of your thoughts.
That is.
So quantum living, success takes 2 ingredients: belief and time. The more belief you have, the less time it takes.
So beautiful. How do people find you, get in touch with you? What if they want you to coach them?
Yeah, check it out. The Maui retreat is coming up in just a couple of months. Our program launches in a couple of weeks. So go to lisajcoaching.com. And
Awesome.
I'm on Instagram, Lisa J Coaching. I have my podcast on my YouTube station, lisajcoaching.com.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being here today, Lisa. I really appreciate you and people like you and people like Bob Berg that introduce you to people like me, all the good stuff. So I just have one last thing to say to you. You are a VIP.
Thank you, Casey. Thank you, everyone.
And that's a wrap for today. Join us next week here on the We Are VIP podcast. We'd love to know how we can help you be a VIP. To find out more, log on to wearevip.com.